have never heard any story like that.
They're just maintaining streaks, and it's just like reaching out and touching something, and then
which is annoying. Hey. They suddenly mental illness is like a label, like a fun like badge they can wear, or like collecting Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
It's just like, are you insane?
this kind of it's endless consuming and no producing.
Dating apps are such a hoax.
And it's just like, okay, so this person is like, attracted to me, on a very flesh and bone level.
Gen Z and millennials will be more victim to technology than Gen Alpha will be. We were the guinea pigs of what internet was and has become.
You bought the new ways to fix the old ways, but now you're getting back the old ways to fix the new.
Sorry, I missed my intro.
Okay. Firstly, genuinely, thank you everyone
Pleasure.
for making it. My biggest fear was actually that to manage everyone's schedules, because like I had so many people coming in, and then I was not sure that everyone will make it on time. Like we'll get that one date where we'll all meet and shoot this. So that was the most difficult part, but like we had it. So I don't know if I've shared this story with you guys, but like how this idea about specifically talking about Generation Alpha came about was, when I was going after my lecture back at home, and then I was traveling in a subway car, and I remember on 42nd Street PABT station, one woman entered the subway with her child, and the child was really crying bad. Okay, so she was just trying to do everything. She was trying to show her a little toy, she was trying to make that little noise, she was doing all the funny stuff, and and nothing worked out. And the child was still crying, and it was like more than 5 minutes. You know what she did? She just took her iPad out, opened Instagram, and the child just started scrolling reels. I mean, the child, I guess, was not even like a year old, like year and a half probably, something like that. But like I felt, I guess like nobody noticed, and I just felt that it was so dangerous. Like how can you do that? At the age of like almost 2 years, the child is addicted to the smartphone and scrolling reels, and that dopamine level. So anyways, we will get onto all these details later, but like, yeah, so I wanted to talk about that. And like when we all used to have conversations in class, I guess that you guys have some vivid opinions on things, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. Why are you laughing? Stop controlling your laughter.
I did. Oh my god! I was just thinking. Continue.
No, it's fine.
My God.
So that's how talking about Generation Alphas, and particular Generation Alphas are, technically speaking, they are people from almost 2010, like correct me if I'm wrong, but like almost 2010 till 2023 or 2024. But like I wanted to talk about, like, world is like really different, like from, if you were to compare 2010 and 2020, the decade was like full of changes. Like we had new technology every year coming in, like transition of from 2G to 3G to 4G to 5G, everything. So I just wanted to talk about people who are born after 2020, like after COVID or in COVID or during COVID, because a lot of new things started happening when we talk about media, technology. People started watching movies and content on OTT more. So people started scrolling more. In COVID, many people started doom scrolling, and I was one of them for sure. But like, and so yeah, I wanted to particularly talk about people who are born after 2020. So yeah, where do we start? I just wanted to start, so that anyone who's watching this can understand a little bit about you all. So if we can just start with Zoe, if we can just introduce, it doesn't matter, like camera is here, but like you can look at me, you can look at him, look at anyone, or look in the camera. I don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, you can just introduce yourself, tell a little bit like what.
She's
And the challenge is
camera.
you have to tell something that none of us know.
Really?
Yeah. Like if you are comfortable to share. Then.
Like about like what is the
No, it's like.
Oh, I got something. I had like something a fun
Oh,
fact.
she got something. Yeah. Go
Fun fact.
ahead. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
I'm Zoe. I'm a Gen Z millennial cusp, so I'm the first year of Gen Z. I'm interested in audio and sound studies, and I want to work in radio, so it's really exciting for me to be on a podcast. And something about me that you might not know is I just started taking ice skating lessons, which has really been really fun and exciting. Yeah.
Oh, that is crazy. That was like about the radio. It was something that I didn't know about.
Yeah. I'm gonna intern at WFMU this summer, actually, the famed community radio station, and I used to work at New York Public Radio, but in fundraising, which I wanted to be on the content side of things.
Oh,
So here we are.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's so good.
Thank you.
Do you want to go next?
My name is Ryan. I am interested in studying audiovisual production and post-production in experimental film and fashion. And my interests are techno music, DJing, and Brooklyn nightlife.
Oh, that's so cool. That's really cool. Do you want to go next? Or like, you
No.
want
No,
him
I
not
can
to
go,
go
yeah.
next?
I'm Amnon. I'm a 31-year-old millennial. I am a filmmaker, and I specialize in producing, directing, and editing. And for the past decade, I worked in marketing as a graphic designer and animator. So I have some thoughts on media. Oh, a fun fact about me, I'm in an opera.
Oh.
No?
Oh, that was
That's
really
amazing.
something.
Right,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'm a singer, and I'm committed to an opera.
What's your, I'm sorry, I don't know the terms, baritone?
I'm a tenor.
Tenor?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
high notes.
I'm really sorry, but I've never been to one.
Then I'm gonna leave. I'm just kidding. Yeah. There's a lot of range in operas, right? There are shorter form. There are those that are like 4 hours. Just kind of, there's as much variety in them as there are in TV shows, though it's a little more of a special occasion thing, So they're fun.
Later, can I just ask you to like
Sing
give a-
one?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna to do what? to
sing.
Like give a demo.
Can you sing one for the camera? Just one.
This is a little on the spot. Can I give you a different fun fact? Like, come see me in the opera. I'll sing in front of all of you.
I was going to say that you can skip it if you're uncomfortable, but no.
Okay. So you're actually making me sing.
Yes.
What do you want me to sing?
I don't know anything.
Whatever comes like on top of your head.
Well, so when I go out for karaoke, I'd say my top songs are like Sinatra or like David Bowie, Queen. So it depends. Do you want like a classic rock vibe? Do you want a jazz vibe? What are you feeling?
So
Fly Me to
anything
the
that is like
Fly Me to the Moon?
Yes.
Can we put on like karaoke music so I'm not just like acapellaing it?
Sure. I don't mind.
Oh, Fly Me to the Moon is a good song.
I can do Fly Me to the Moon.
Wow.
Let me just put on a karaoke version.
I love where this is
Good
going.
start.
Yes.
Did y'all know you can get $30 tickets to the opera if you're under the age of 30?
Oh, yeah, I
Thinking
heard
about
about this.
Great.
To
Okay,
You are
you
in
have
the
to stop age shaming yourself.
I'm not age shaming. She
Wait,
just
No,
shamed me.
Yourself. No.
I'm sorry, wait, how old are you?
31.
Oh, I was, yeah, no.
Oh,
okay,
I'm
sorry.
going to
You're in the
zoom,
opera.
It's
zoom
okay.
onto her reaction on
Yeah.
the 31.
What reaction did I give?
I don't care.
I said-
I'm happy as 31. You're the one who has a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it.
It's okay.
Why would I have a problem with your age?
I don't know. I
But
didn't
you
even
don't
say
know.
those words. You're the one who suddenly That you just introduced that language to the conversation.
Let it go.
Okay. Wait.
Wait, what?
All right. Here's Fly Me to the Moon, just for you.
Yay.
Okay. Sorry, I missed my intro. Here we go. Each version's a little different. Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
Little Sinatra.
Damn.
That was so
That was so good.
good. Oh my god.
Excited to edit this?
We are getting better.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
I've been a singer all my life. My parents are musicians.
Oh.
My mom's also they're both classically trained. My mom's a singer and my dad's a flutist. So I had no choice but to learn a lot of instruments.
Wow.
Life comes at you fast, and you gotta do different things. I like to tango dance as well. I've been tangoing
Damn.
for over a year.
Can we get a demo of that as well?
I know.
Let me put on some. No, I'm just kidding.
Again?
You just. I am Malaika. You started that way. So that was great.
Okay.
And you talk about like you were talking about everything off the camera. As soon as the camera start rolling.
It was on only.
It was not on.
The camera was on. Y'all were just there.
No, we cut it.
No, you said you used to cut your hair all the
So
time.
I didn't know it was cut. My bad.
Talk about it.
Again?
Yeah.
Action.
So hi guys, I'm Malaika. What was I gonna say? Sorry, it's okay, take it. When you put me on spot. sorry. Hi.
PR firm, right? You want me to intro you?
Just look at Brij and talk.
And you should also mention one more thing that you just she started her own podcast. She's not.
No, don't
Yeah,
ever
you
mention
should.
that. No, probably
Are you
not.
crazy?
Yeah,
And
no.
she's the host.
That's great.
I'm
And
very
she's-
camera shy. I cannot.
She's
Cameras are-
inviting some amazing
Not
people.
there.
She started her first episode with an influencer.
Whoa. Cool.
Now talk about it.
No.
Malaika, brief it.
Yes. The thing is, I'm not really great with cameras, so I'm just gonna pretend it's not there.
Yeah, just talk
Sure.
to us.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Malaika. So I used to work in a PR firm back home, and probably gonna either get into advertising or fashion PR in New York after I graduate. I also started my own podcast. It's called Modern Echoes, and the first episode will probably be out by the time this is out as well. And we just talk about normal things. It doesn't have a very niche. It's not a niched podcast. It's a very just get to know people that I know and why they are the way they are, what made them the way they are. And also something that nobody knows about me is I can cut my own hair and cut other people's hair as well. And what else? I want to learn how to tattoo other people and myself. Yes, that's it.
That was great. That was just perfect. You should have just done that before. Just
Yes.
looking at others and pretending camera is not there and do the same thing.
I'm freezing.
No, that was really great. Honestly, that was great. So next I wanted to talk about was something that I noticed, while talking to my friends, my family, and observing a few things. So so it was like, my grandfather always talks about the 1983 World Cup. Okay, the cricket World Cup in India. Like it was not in India, it was in England, I guess. I'm not sure about that. Fact check. I don't know. But like India won that World Cup, and that was the first World Cup that India won. And he always used to talk about the stories where we just had one television in the whole society.
Yeah.
In the whole, like people from 10 different houses used to come at one place, gather at one place. They used to do potluck, and they used to watch television, for hours. So, and there were only like 2 to 3 programs. So and the lifestyle back then was like pretty straightforward, like get up, go back to work, and like that's all of us right now as well. But like it was different because I think that technology was not available, or like they just had television and some radio. There was a radio in every house back then. So they used to listen to radio, listen to songs at night all the time. So that used to be the environment. And then cut to my dad's story, so go to school, go to tuitions, get back home, watch television, and then, okay, that's done, And then cut to when we were all born in the 90s, okay, and then so I just observed this, that we have seen a lot of transitions in technology. Like I had a television at my place when I was born, and I used to watch a lot of movies, a lot of cartoons, a lot of VCDs, DVDs. This was a new thing back then, as I used to collect VCDs, DVDs, and all of those things. And then in 2000s, we had one mobile phone in our home.
The long one.
The long ones, yeah. There was a this big one.
It was this big telephone that people used to carry around.
And it was pretty fascinating. Even before that, they used to boast about pagers, if anyone remembers pagers.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, they used to have pagers. So I know they just used to vibrate, and people. It was so cool. It was a fashion statement. Using pagers was a fashion statement in India, because like out of 10 people, barely like one person used to have it, and my dad had it, and he always used to show off. He has a pager.
Yeah.
So after that we saw mobile phones and all of that, 2G, 3G, 5G. But what's happening now is that the people who are born, they are born with all the technology. They are born with Amazon Echoes, and they are used to saying hey mom or hey dad, along with hey Alexa, play this. I have noticed, I've seen that. This is not like something made up, but I've seen that happening. Small child is just saying, hey Alexa, can you play my TV show? That all of that is happening. So I want to talk about that. So I want to hear each one of you's story. Like, how was your relationship with technology since childhood, and what was that transition for you guys, and how did it look from your perspective? If you were to look, how's your family interacting when you were like really young? So just wanted to talk a little bit about that. No, but can we go with you?
Yeah. I can start. Okay, so I was born in 1997. So yeah, I think that was on the cusp of a lot of big changes. When I was younger, I would watch maybe an hour of television. I had actually 2 shows that I watched. I would come home, I would do my homework, we would play outside, and then we would watch Dragon Tales and Cyber Chase on PBS, and those were my programs, and I have 3 younger siblings. And then I would play computer games on the weekend on my parents' computer. And my dad had a BlackBerry that I would play Block Breaker on. I don't know if anyone remembers that game. And then I got like a little flip phone when I went to middle school. and I got my first smartphone when I was in, like an iPhone, when I was in 10th grade. No, I guess 11th grade, and that ruined my attention span. I remember what my brain felt like before getting an iPhone and what it feels like now, and it's just like, it's a world of difference. And I guess I had, iPods, iPod touches, starting in like middle school, the little nanas or whatever,
Just if you want to add, this is not a cross question, but if you want to add, at the same time, in a parallel world, how your mom and dad were interacting with technology, was it the same way? Were they finding it difficult? How was it?
Yeah, I mean, I remember my mom had the first iPod ever released, like, the first model. It was like a block, it was like this thick. And she used to, I remember her also, she had a Walkman, and I remember her running with that, and I don't remember when I started feeling more technologically advanced than my parents, but it happened kind of seamlessly. It was like they were the ones with technology for a while, and then all of a sudden I was so much better at it than them, So.
That was really a great story. That was really, it is exactly like that, right?
Yeah.
Because the transition was so smooth that none of us ever understood that what it is doing to us. So, Ryan, would you like to share some of your stories?
My relationship to media as a child, I would say we had a home phone, a desktop that everyone shared, a TV, and every console you could think of. So maybe you had Xbox, PS4, Nintendo 64. But I feel we also had a balance of playing outside with neighborhood kids. I think we definitely had a lot of that, good community. But with media, I feel watched a lot of TV, went to the movies a lot. But I remember I feel I was instantly addicted to Facebook. Was my first social media platform when I was in 6th grade as a 12-year-old. I got on Facebook before I had my first phone, but instantly I was addicted to the connection of so many people at once, I guess. Always knowing what everyone else is doing was I guess my fascination. And it's just being able to communicate with so many people, and also getting into Twitter at a young age and finding niche communities on social medias. You have access to so many different just worlds and thoughts and niche communities that maybe widened my perspective at a young age outside of my own hometown. But yeah.
No, I completely resonate with you because Facebook penetrated in Indian markets if I'm not wrong, much later than in US. It was not an immediate reaction to public, but when it did, every friend of mine had a Facebook account, and I didn't have. Just for that, I wanted a computer at my place, and I cried for that. I remember in 7th standard. But that was great. That was great. Thank you so much for that.
But I also do remember going into 6th grade was my middle school, and I was the only one without a phone. And it was just so devastating for me, and I just felt so unpopular because I wasn't being able to text all my friends like everyone else was texting each other. And my parents would not get me a phone until 7th grade. Yet I remember my mom and my sister always being with them. They were always on their phones, so I felt left out.
I'm sorry, I'm following up on this, but I have to because I used to text all of my friends from there was a common phone at my place, that everyone used to use. So there was no privacy whatever. So every time I used to chat with everyone, okay, I had to delete my chat so that no one else reads that. And like I was told that if you we just had that one phone, so that was not something surprising in an Indian household back then. But every Indian household started with having one phone, and then eventually everyone had their personal phones as well. So that's how smartphones penetrated in India and in Indian households, as everyone started to go out and travel more, and then there was a need for connectivity, and that's how it penetrated. But at the start there was only one phone. So yeah, that memory I have. I used to get so frustrated, and and once there was my friends used to forward all these dirty jokes.
Of course.
We all know. And my mom read that joke and she's like, "What is this? Why you are not going to be friends with this guy anymore?"
Yeah.
But anyways, can we hear you?
Yeah, sure. It's interesting trip down nostalgia lane here. So 1996, we had a black and white computer, and all our games were on floppy disk. Super Stardust was a really popular one at the time. I remember that. And this was also, I think, I had a little bit of a leg up at home because my dad got into tech. So he was already kind of getting computers and looking at the future, in that sense. Zoom forward, got my first iPod. I got an iPod Nano in 7th grade. Also got my first cell phone in 7th grade. It was a flip phone with 300 minutes a month. And it was a half minute per text. So burned through that very quickly, obviously. And yeah, it was the ease of ramping up to having technology be part of your life. AIM, oh my God, we were obsessed with that. Learned all the lingo, integrated LOL into my vocabulary, as well as, this would have been helpful for you, POS, parents over shoulder. 69 or 96 also, 69 being parents over the shoulder, and 96 is they left. We're bringing it back. No. Yeah, so I've always been very comfortable with computers just because I was introduced to them at such an early age, I would say. Oh, and ICQ also was really big, when I was living in Tel Aviv, everyone was using that. Just messenger platforms, right? I had MySpace as well in 7th grade, and I loved MySpace. I did not understand when Facebook came out. I'm like, this is so boring and homogenized. I could make my own wallpaper. You could pick music that people would hear when they enter your MySpace page. It was so glitzy. It was so cool. So didn't really understand that. And I was a little late with, in terms of my friends to the game. I think I got my first Facebook when I was 15. And everyone had already had it for 2 years. So I was late to the game with that. I was also late to the game with iPhones. I think I got mine in 2014. After everyone had theirs for a while already. I don't know why I was holding out. I just really didn't feel like I needed it. And then suddenly I was like, okay, fine. I think Snapchat had just come out and I thought it'd be fun to play with. So stupid reason to get into it, but I had been, groomed on the iPod Touch, already. So it was a very easy transition, and I guess the rest is kind of history. Yeah, but very, very much computer savvy. My dad is as well. My mom is not. Frustrating. She takes a photo, you know how easy it is to swipe to your camera. It's a minute-long process for her. I don't want to get into it.
Oh, but I resonate with your Facebook story as well because when we all friends used to meet back at school and we are all having that little break, everyone is talking about, I posted on your wall, why aren't you commenting back?
Yeah.
So
there's also a top 8 friends that you could do. That was really nasty.
So I was like, okay.
It's why am I not in your top 8 anymore?
Yeah.
Because you didn't share your lunch with me, or yeah.
So all these things were happening, and I used to tell them back then as well, I'm right here,
Yeah.
Why? So it was just a trend, everyone wanted to be a part of, and someone who is not would feel really left out of it. And I had many friends as well who couldn't afford a computer back then. and they used to go. So I don't know about US, but like we had cyber cafes in India.
Not as common, I think, here in the U.S.
Oh, so
I think they existed, but it wasn't a trend. It wasn't like
Did you guys have like internet cafes, like for
they existed, but I don't
video,
think we
like gaming, internet cafes?
we came from
Oh,
home.
Interesting.
You should talk about it.
Yes, I probably will because I have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can start your story, but like I was going to talk about cyber cafes only, so maybe if you want to take it ahead.
I also want to just add a point. It's amazing how our relationship to privacy has evolved since then too. We used to have like assemblies on, do not give your first and last name on social media, and cyberbullying, which I haven't heard that term in a while. Maybe it's still being used, but I feel like things. Okay, so scratch that, edit that out.
Yeah.
But like I had a secret Facebook account. My parents and my family didn't know that there was a Facebook account that existed because everyone was like, it was a kind of a taboo. They heard some story about Facebook and they're like, no, people are getting scammed. No, only bad things happen on Facebook. And there was a thing, it was just like a myth that was in trend that anyone who's on Facebook is not from a good background. Like people used to judge if they are on Facebook, not people of our generation, but like elder people. Like I don't know if you resonate with
No,
it, but
I
I don't
probably
know.
don't.
I have heard these things. That if you are on Facebook, Facebook is bad. You shouldn't do it. It distracts you. Not only from distraction point of view, but from every point of view. Maybe I guess privacy was one thing because all of us were sharing all the family photos and the pictures we had at the get-togethers, posting online, and people had problems with that apparently. I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that was a thing.
I had some very effective prank calls just based off of like people posting their numbers on Facebook. Like, I would have a name, a number, I'd know who their friends are, and I could just like come up with really, really in-depth, like complex prank calls that went too far.
Did you ever fall for it?
Did I ever fall for one?
Yeah.
No, you can't prank a prankster. Everyone fell for mine though. I was very good at it. It's called social engineering nowadays,
Yeah.
but back then I was in high school. I didn't really.
That's right.
I was just having fun.
Thank you so much. It was
Randomly?
what?
You're next.
Yeah, no, that I go with.
Randomly you mean, why did I say thank
Thank you. He's like,
You're
thank
welcome.
you.
Thanks for pranking. Yeah.
Right. So for me, I think tech was a part of my life as soon as I was brought into the world. Because my dad was in the Navy. So we had like a desktop at home that everybody shared. So it was me, mom and grandmom that called people from the desktop, like Skyped people. And we used to Skype dad and then Skype my aunt who lives in the US. And we had one landline that either dad used to call on or like my mom's friends used to call on. I didn't have a lot of friends because I was like in kindergarten. But after that,
I have friends in kindergarten.
well, now I have friends who were from my kindergarten,
Okay.
so it's the same. Yeah, anyway.
And we were like,
Like, you didn't have friends?
Oh, I was.
Your friends
It's like kindergarten's not a reason not to have friends.
The thing was, I was a very introverted person till my engineering. Yeah, then I lost it.
Cool.
What did engineering do to you?
off topic, off topic.
Anyways,
Huh.
come back.
So we had, as Brij told, whenever the desktop like at home stopped functioning or like malfunctioned, we had to go to this internet cafes just to talk to like dad or like aunt. And I used to go with my grandmom because the time difference. So when we have morning in US, it's night in India. So because of the time difference, I used to go with my grandmom because she was pretty old and she needed company, and I was like very not old. So I used to go with her and to the internet cafe. So it's like a place that you use, like there are a bunch of desktops, and then you use them, and then you pay according to the hour, how much you've used. So we used to stay there for an hour, and then she used to finish her call and then come back home. That's pretty cool, because as I heard, you guys didn't have internet cafes here.
I'm sure they existed, but it wasn't as much of a thing. I definitely didn't really go to them.
Like in India, it was very popular because not every house had a personal desktop. So everybody used to, like if you have a school project, get your pen drive and go to internet cafe and fix your work and then print it out there and then get it back. Because it was like, they had like a Xerox machine and a printer and everything. They charged you a shit ton of money for like color prints. Anyway. So after that, I think I got my first phone in 7th grade. It was a Sony Rexon flip phone, and that's pretty fun. And about the Facebook, I didn't have that taboo around me because everybody in my like school, I was in an all-girls school, so everybody in my school were like, oh, Facebook. And even the teachers actually spoke about Facebook in like class, like, oh, so I guess everybody's on Facebook now, so you guys are being very tech savvy is what she referred to. But back then, yeah, maybe. So even our parents were on Facebook back then, and everybody was so hyped up with the whole sharing pictures, because we didn't have MySpace in India. So it was Facebook was our main introduction to social media, at least for me and my friends. Yahoo?
I still have a Yahoo mail.
No, but that was, yeah, we did have Yahoo.
Yahoo, yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Shit.
I still have an AOL account for all my spam stuff, you know.
I didn't have a Yahoo, so I can't speak about it. I know about it. You could play games on that website. It was pretty fun. Yes, I mostly used the. Oh, also, I had a TV that had a box attached to it. So we had a box TV, and then that transitioned into an LED, LCD.
Yeah, maybe.
LCD.
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 Yeah.
LCD TV, right? And what else? Oh, we had also a DVD player, because Dad used to like record things on the ship and then send CDs on the mail, because he couldn't come back for like a year or like 6 months. So all that time he used to just record things on the CDs and like post them, and then we used to watch them. So yeah, I was always using tech from a very young age, and everybody at home were also very tech positive, if I should say.
So your dad used to vlog at that time?
Yeah. He had those, you know, the not the camcorders, but like the bigger version of the camcorders. So he had that, and then he went around saying, oh, this is, but not, it was not bougie. It was just, it shook a lot.
Now you are having problem with the camera shaking. At that time.
Yeah, but yeah, we did get a lot. We got to see his captain and sorry, his co-captain. He was also a captain. My bad. His co-captain. He's gonna kill me. His co-captain, and we got to see a lot of places they docked at. So like we saw South Korea, we saw the US and things like that. And then he tried a very weird dish which was dog's tongue. He didn't eat it, but then he had this very weird conversation because of the language barrier with the waiter saying, what is that? And then he was like, woof woof, and and then my dad had to be like, no man, I'll eat on the ship. It's fine.
Wow.
So I think that was me with tech. I was very used to it.
But like, I have never heard any story like that before from that time, because everyone I knew, you know, they used to go at someone's places and go to cyber cafes and, you know, as you were saying, print stuff out and all of these things. But that is so cool.
That is so cool.
That is so cool. Oh my god. So next I wanted to talk about that what do you guys think? Like, first of all, someone, like, I had this interesting story that I shared from the subway, that I noticed this, and that is a problem. So, do you guys have any siblings or anyone how are they interacting with technology of, like, from a really small age, because they have smartphones from the word go. Okay, they have everything with them. So how are they interact? What has been your observation about this topic?
So I have a story for the question you asked. I have two brothers who are raising their children in two different, very opposite ways. So one of them is giving free reins to their child, like making sure they have all the newest models of their gaming console or like laptop and phones and everything. At the same time, another brother is making sure that they are trying to limit the tech use in the child's world as much as they possibly can, by not allowing any screen time when as long as their brain is completely like developed to a point where they can decide on their own. I think they're gonna limit anything tech related to the child. Again, with necessary exceptions being school and maybe like calling your parents to pick you up and stuff like that. They also make sure to have like child lock, parent protection on the phones and all the tech devices they use, and make sure that they don't doom scroll, or they don't have any apps that make them think in a certain way, or introduce a certain topic at a very young age, like Wattpad and things like that. So,
anybody else have a story?
How the younger generation how we witness them using technology.
Our siblings, right?
Or siblings.
Not necessarily siblings, but like
yeah.
anyone. If you have observed, like my incident was just on a subway.
Something kind of funny. I mean, I feel like Snapchat, even as people grow older, they stop using Snapchat for the most part, unless I'm like really out of touch. But the younger generations keep coming up and using Snapchat. But watching how people in high school use it is really funny to me, because the whole like streaks thing, for example, where they're not even communicating anything in particular, they're just maintaining streaks, and it's like reaching out and touching someone, and then that's it. Like, you're not communicating anything. It'll be like blurry picture of their face, streak, like, why do you do that? It's like, because you got to maintain streaks. It's like, but why? It's like, because otherwise the person will be mad at you, like. And you don't open someone's Snapchat unless you're gonna respond to it, or that's like you've just done something cruel and unacceptable. And like, I don't know, I've learned this from other like friends who have siblings in high school, and I just think it's so funny, and it's just kind of, to me, it's revealing of how those kids have grown up into a world where they're so used to being connected all the time that like any sort of gesture of pulling back from those connections, even for a minute, is considered rude. Yeah.
But Snapchat was weird.
Yeah, for sure.
It is, because it's considered as a statement. So when I stopped using Snapchat, I have it in my phone. I do get snaps. But like, when I stopped using that, because someone just called me and like, snap me now.
Yeah.
Our streak is ending in like 5 hours. You have to snap me now.
Yeah.
Why? For what? Just because when you meet someone else, you can say that I have a streak with this person of for like 235 days.
Yeah.
I don't need that. Like,
I'm sure also, like, if high schoolers were listening to this podcast, they would roll their eyes and be like, it's really not that deep, but
I like the example you used, that it's almost like tapping someone without
Yeah.
having anything to say.
Right, that's what it feels like to me.
Which is annoying.
Like,
It's like, hey. Like,
just a reminder I
yeah.
exist. Like, hi, hey, here
Well,
I am.
it's weird that it's being maintained. Like, you know, I remember when it first came out, I'm like, this is dumb. But then it like really took off. And now, yeah, it's definitely kind of found its niche, or it's like seems like a stepping stone for kids. All they seem to have is that like cheap gamification, where it's like keeping in touch, right?
Yeah.
And it takes nothing, and it's just like you open the app for what, like a minute just to get that done. I don't know why they still have it, but I guess it has a place.
I have a very okay, so I don't know if I'm the only one who didn't know about this. So apparently in the Alpha generation, so when they say let's connect on Snap, it means to exchange like nudes and stuff, which I wasn't like when on a dating app. If they say let's connect on Snap, I didn't know about this till somebody pointed it out, and I was like, "What do you mean?"
I feel old.
Don't do that.
Yeah, this is.
No, Snapchat was for sex chat.
See, I didn't even.
That's what it started out as. I feel like that was the whole point. It was like a way that you could like shamelessly exchange dirty pics, and they would disappear.
Yeah.
There's like an
What else?
adult
That's the first where my mind went.
person.
Uh-huh.
I feel like trying to use Snapchat. That is like so shady. That is like red flag. I'm like, that's gross to me.
Yeah,
it's like because it's just like what can't you say
Yeah.
that they're trying
Like
to be
why
shady.
do you want the 24-hour mark
I just
there?
feel like the type of adults who use Snapchat are like really unsavory.
Yeah, and I think it is used for a lot of shady stuff too. Like in general. Not that it's only we can't see you. You're behind the camera, but not that it's only used for that. But yeah, it's definitely become like the mode.
Yeah.
To do things without people seeing.
It's like they are just connected, but they just don't know about the other person anything, and like they don't understand. Like there's no understanding, there's no intimacy, there's nothing.
Which is perfect for drug dealers.
Yeah.
You don't need that, But yeah,
Or like hookups.
true. Yeah.
True. No, that's sadly true.
Yeah.
Yeah. My thoughts on like the younger generation, I haven't taught like Gen Alpha, but they're kind of on cusp, I would say, is that they're super addicted to their phones, and I thought it would be a challenge to get them to like look away from their phones and learn something in the physical realm. I think just having something interesting, like learning how to work a camera or how to light a scene or things like that, giving them challenges, giving them agency, making them feel like responsible adults at that age, I think is a much stronger feeling than that weird isolated connectedness of being on a phone. Like I've seen these kids do things that surprise even teachers there. They'll come to school at 7:30 a.m. on a Saturday to film something, and meanwhile they barely show up the entire semester during the week. So I think that humans have a natural sense. I mean, on a sensory level, we have our senses, and they need to be engaged, including touch. Like you see like the examples where cars are now getting rid of touchscreens because people prefer buttons. I don't think that's ever going to go away. You can't atrophy that part of the brain. On that note, though, I do know that there are parts of the brain now that aren't working as well, and who knows if it'll evolve into in existence. For example, navigation. Now that nobody needs to have any inherent sense of where they're going, they're having studies that show that those parts of the brain are like dead. So I can only imagine what in the coming years, especially with those kids who grew up during the pandemic, like young childhood in that weird isolation, like they're disturbed. I'm sorry, like I don't know if you've seen these kids. I fear the day they enter the workforce. They're stunted socially. It's really strange, and it's a huge problem. It's like something that I've read a lot of articles about, and it's something that people are tackling with each year as they get older. I'm curious what will emerge.
No, and the problem is that what is happening because of doom scrolling and because of all these games, and there's a really popular show for the kids, right? Something, Cocomelon?
Cocomelon? Yeah, Cocomelon.
Cocomelon?
Yeah, it's a YouTube channel, and like it's
Cocomelon.
Yeah.
What game is
So
it?
it's just a show.
It's a show.
Oh.
But it's made in a way by the producers that the child will be so much addicted to the sound, to the colors, to how it's moving, and it's so scientifically made You know, maybe the producers are making so much bloody money, but like I've seen and this differs from content to content. If the parent is switching up something with Cocomelon, they are not okay with it. They want to see Cocomelon. They are just hijacked, you know, with that show. And what happens is, it restricts their ability to think further, you know. And after that, when they grow and when they start realizing things, you know, it is that situation where to recover from that, they'll go back to the social media. You know, because they are depressed and because they are disturbed and because they are not able to think themselves, you know, to recover from that or to be like in a light mood, they'll start scrolling again. And there's a study that also says that, you know, when people are depressed or when they are having this huge identity crisis, which is because of social media, they go to social media and take extremist positions, you know, stances that will grab them attention. Not that they care about the topic or they care about something, but like they just go on Reddit and they'll post something really, you know, really extremist that will grab the attention, and that's what is happening.
Yeah, I feel like that goes back to social isolation, and I think that's a huge problem. And it's not just kids; it's like everybody. And there's this kind of tendency that I see all the time where people talk about like, oh my god, I hate people, I hate going out, I love just staying in, like, oh my god, I'm such an introvert, I don't like doing anything. And they say it like it's this kind of just like cute quality they have, and I'm like, isolating yourself and never wanting to connect with anyone is not really, I think, admirable or something that we should like strive for or celebrate. It's just a sign of the times to me. It's like a sign that we're living in a very isolated society. I don't think it's a good thing, you know, like yeah.
Have you also noticed something like that?
I mean, I think the era of isolation matched with this era of people being obsessed with each other, as we are all our own sources of entertainment through social media, leads to a lack of individuality, creativity, and maybe like diversity, just in a sense of like, you have these kids that are constantly Snapchatting each other, constantly just looking at each other's faces, but not really learning anything. So it's like, what are your actual interests? Like, what are you actually doing besides just scrolling and taking in media at such fast rates that you're not really learning anything? Like, if you're watching reels for 3 hours, like we've all gotten caught in the doom scrolling, and then you put your phone down after those 3 hours and you're like, what did I just watch? Like, you kind of just wasted 3 hours of your life, realistically, from useless entertainment. So, yeah.
And it's like, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's this kind of, it's endless consuming and no producing, and not like producing even in a you need to be a contributing member of society way, but just like producing in a way that you're creating things that live in the world and that therefore can connect you to the world around you. Like if you're just sort of a mindless consumer, you're just this powerless receptacle that can be written upon, you know? And that's like, that's a way to feel horrible and like nothing, and also isolated.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. On a personal note, I just got rid of all my dating apps, and I'm amazed at how much time I now have. Like, it's stupid. I can't believe I fell for that for so long. I was like, this is pointless. This is not a way to meet people. And yeah, virtual doesn't, it sucks. Even in like, you know, learning environments for classes, Zoom is not the same as in person. There's something missing there. So yeah, we're all victim to it in one way or another.
But like, do you feel the difference? Like, what made you realize that, you know, you should delete them all?
That I should, sorry?
You should delete the apps.
Because I haven't met anyone and it hasn't worked, you know. It's like, the proof is in the pudding there. And I think there's a lot of evidence to show that those algorithms are not built to actually help you find a match, because then you get rid of the app and they want you to stay on the app. So that makes sense from a very just kind of practical standpoint. And yeah, I was meeting people, and I started asking myself this question when I would go on a date. I'd be like, is this someone that if I met them at like a party, I would ask for their number? And like almost 10 times out of 10, I'd be like, no. It's the most bizarre matching situation kind of a thing. It's weird to go on a first date not knowing who the person is. Usually you meet someone and then you have a date and you already know who they are. It just doesn't feel right to me. Granted, I know people who have met and are like getting married off of dating apps, so maybe the problem's with me.
No, I don't think so, because dating apps are such a hoax. I honestly cannot, because it's such a non-romantic way to meet people. Like, the conversations I've had and my friends have had is so weird. Like, one of my friends just received a text saying, "Hey, you up? Wanna come?" Like, okay, no, that is not how you greet people. Like, what happened to hi? How is
Which
your
app are
day?
we talking about?
Bumble.
Oh yeah, that's not Bumble.
Yeah.
Well, like with all sort of technology, dating apps collapse time, and so they take away I think the most fun part of like dating and meeting someone, which is like the build-up, the like suspense. Like, do they like me? Don't they like me? Are we gonna kiss right now? Like, is this gonna happen? And it's just like you're starting at the point of like, yeah, I'm attracted to you. Like, it's just so much less fun.
It's like you're looking at a menu and you're like the newest piece of meat.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, so this person is like, attracted to me, on a very flesh and bone level. And then anything beyond that is, chances are not good that it's going to be anything beyond
No,
that.
but I have a comparison to make. I know you wanted to say something.
That's okay. Go for
No,
it.
but I have a comparison to make that. Do you think that the realizations that we all are having, do you think the same level of realizations Gen Alpha will have 10 years later on? Because, so my question is, what is their bar of normalcy? Because I'll reframe my question. Okay, but like what I mean to say was, because we have seen, that this is better, and now we are on dating apps and we are doing this. I don't feel that something's off. Someone who just started on the dating app, they don't know what is better.
Mm-hmm.
This was just one example. So, what is their bar of normalcy for them? You wanted to say something?
Actually, yeah. So I think for them it'd be pretty normal because they're used to the isolation. Because we were, at least for me, when I grew up, I was surrounded by people, but for people who are, growing up with like this smartphone devices, other than like actually hanging out with your friends, and more on the tech part of like being behind computers most of the time, I think they are okay with having that kind of interactions with people rather than actually meeting them in person. They would still prefer like, oh yeah, I'm okay with like just texting them rather than actually meeting them. So I think for them the range is pretty normal, because we are not from that generation and we've not been behind the computer all the time. So I think for us it's a little weird, but for them I think it's pretty normal.
Mm-hmm. You were saying something?
Yeah, I think, I'm going to shift to like my goal is whenever I become a parent. I think my goal is to just, what's the term? Hold back the inevitable for as long as possible. I think it's going to be as much of a challenge for me as it will be for my kids, because I'm sure they're going to be annoying the hell out of me, and it would be so easy to just put an iPad in front of them. But on the other hand, for example, I was raised without video games, and I'm grateful for it now. Like, I'm not good at them, so I'm not going to waste my time doing them. But I would go over to my friends' places and play it over there. I think that's fine, that's okay. But I really just want to teach, the next generation that I bring in to the world, how this world is a physical place in 3D, and that there are things to do. And sure, there's going to be social pressure for them, with everyone else who falls victim to, having a screen in front of them all the time. But I think I can find a community of people. Like, I think I just need 30 people. I don't know. I just need like
You decide on that.
like I don't know, a commune size kind of a
Yeah.
thing where, you know, all of our kids can play together and learn how to live a life with social engagement, at least until they're in middle school and they have enough development so that they can think for themselves.
So, I was thinking that, it's not only parents, like, I surely want to hear from the rest of you as well. What would you do as well? Like, what is that? Is there any, first of all, is there any one ideal way that these kids should be raised? But like, I think that parents are one parameter, school is another, society and friends is another, and then internet and content also, media also plays a big role. But I have not found an answer, that how should media change and in a way that they could benefit, because media is very capitalistic in nature, because we are talking about Cocomelon. But like, I have on the positive note, I have an example of a school. So we were just talking about this, so in the documentary class, and my professor gave an example of a school. So he was just talking about a film, and I related that with this topic. There's a school in California, and what they did was they had this one small handicap, which they had, and the school gave the handicaps to all the children. Okay, and like over the span of 2 years, they had around like 2 vacations or 2 big vacations. Okay, so wherever they are going, whatever they are doing, they have to film that. Okay, and when they come next time, they'll exchange handicaps, and so they'll have someone else's clips, and they'll do that again, and they'll do that again, they'll do that again. So over the span of like 2-3 years, they exchanged handicaps, and everyone made a film. So that purpose, I feel the purpose of that was not just creating a film, and that was awarded and all of that, but it was just doing an activity which is like very physical in nature, and they were asked to ask questions to their parents which they would have never done otherwise. Talk with them about their childhood. How would they do things otherwise? When you visit your grandparents, capture their reactions of meeting you. And like when you're sitting with someone, just talk to them, interview them, so all these things. So I guess this was a great example of how some things might be done so that there is a realization of what's real and what's real.
Yeah. I think there's nothing wrong with technology augmenting our development. Like help, or giving us training wheels, or helping us push further than we could without it. And I think that's a balance that needs to be found. That's an interesting example there. I mean, filmmaking is very much that balance between the physical world and screens. And I think it's a great way to can dance along those lines and become disillusioned to everything that you're seeing on the screen, while also holding things in your hand and feeling a sense of community and building things. Of course, I'm biased because that's what I do and that's my life. But there are plenty of examples of that. So I think that's definitely the direction to go. And Gen Alpha, they're still human beings. They have all the same capabilities that we have. It's just kind of, I'm curious to see where they land. There's only so much we can do for them and the generations that follow, but also they have to make choices themselves.
Of course.
As do we all with every new advancement.
Yeah.
Also, do you guys have something to add on what can be done?
Well, so I think Gen Z and millennials will be more victim to technology than Gen Alpha will be, in a sense that we were the guinea pigs of what internet was and has become. And I feel like we were more victim to being addicted to it because we didn't know what was to come out of it. And now we are finally like analyzing, like, oh wow, everyone kind of collectively became addicted to this structure. And what I don't like about like millennial parents that I'm seeing a lot of is them constantly recording their children, like reactions, whether it's they're happy, whether they're crying, whether the parents giving them a gift, or like I really don't like that. Like, I don't think millennial parents should be documenting their children's life, because that's just reinforcing this idea that like there is always a phone in front of your face and there's no separation between reality and this digital. So I feel like Gen Alpha is going to come into this, and hopefully there will be a separation, a very distinct separation between what will be the digital realm and what will be reality, because we are blending the two with say like these augmented realities with Apple whatever that's called,
Visions.
The headset.
the Vision Pros, right?
Yeah.
So we're
That's
starting
the
to
end.
blend them.
That is
but-
the end.
That is the end.
And how Zoe was saying that she kind of surpassed her parents coming to like the understanding of technology. I think Gen Alpha will use it more as a tool than like a necessity.
Yeah, I feel also like in terms of parenting, there's maybe, I feel like there's a time and a place, and that's kind of what you have to teach your kids. Like, it fills me with a profound sense of sadness when I'm at a restaurant and I see a family eating together and the kids are all on iPads. Like, that's so sad to me, you know? Disconnect to connect or whatever. But like, that's a moment where like, oh, you're sitting together, you're at a table, this is a social event, you know? Like, that's where you shouldn't be on screens. If you're on a long car ride, I think the kid can be on the iPad, but I also do not want to give my hypothetical children iPads at a really young age. And at the same time, I've never been a parent, so maybe as soon as I like have a kid, I will give them anything to like shut up. I don't know. But I like to think that I would try to hold off as long as possible. I wouldn't want it to become socially inhibiting for them. But I would love to hold off as long as possible on giving screens to my
I
kids.
would actually like to add to what Zoe said. So, even if the parents like try to hold off, it's the other factors that actually influence the kids more. I've seen one of my cousins who's like, I think she's 12 years old right now, and so her parents made like they were like they put parental lock on all their devices and all that because she was found scrolling on Wattpad and reading something, I don't know. But at the same time, once her parents tried to get rid of the app and all that, her friends started screenshotting the books and sending it to her. So they didn't do anything to stop the process from happening. I mean, I know that Wattpad can be a good source of entertainment and all that, but I don't think at a very young age anybody should be exposed to that much information about anything, because we know what actually happens on Wattpad, and once you know your stance in the world, maybe then you can explore it for sure. But at a very young age to be exposed to all that information, I don't think is even if the parents try to stop it, like friends sending it or like them going and using their friends' devices. So there's not really a solution where you can actually say like this is right, this is wrong. So like I think they are still learning, and parenting is all that you learn as you get along. I mean, go along with your child, I think. That's just my take on it.
On parenting,
Yeah.
you want to guys move ahead and talk about parenting?
Nice. Let's go.
Yeah,
what
let's do it.
what are the
We
because
talk-
the thing was
Yeah.
that when I was thinking about that, about how my parents did it, I was not happy about it. Okay, really. But like, no, that was fine because that was how they were conditioned like that, right? Nothing is right or wrong. It's because of the conditioning. It's because of the environment. It's because of what they were being told that this is right. Okay, that's right. Okay, but there were no perspectives. So when I was thinking about it, that how us millennials and Gen Zs, how we will be as parents. At this point, I feel all the people around me are just thinking about growth and building our careers and doing this, doing that. Yeah, we are obviously we are concerned about our friends, our partners, everyone. But I never gave a thought about it. That okay, what's that ideal way? And when I talked with some of my cousins and some of my friends who are parents right now, and there's no way, like there's no particular way to do it, or to manage this situation, this problem. So, but many people are just, I couldn't believe they are YouTubing. Yeah, like ways of parenting. This is the right way to do it. This should be done. That should be done. When you were talking about that example, when about your cousins, about your brothers, like their way of bringing up is so much structured. This is discipline. This should be done that way. This should be done that way. But the problem is that when we are in a school, when we are with other friends, nowadays technology, iPads, all these things are just a part of the curriculum. They are watching everything on the projectors. At least when I was studying, there were books, we were highlighting things.
Yeah.
And we had a dictionary, we were looking up, we were finding up the meaning for words, and we were looking that way. But now they are just asked to take their smartphones out and search for it, Google it. So even if they are restricted, even if there's a restriction that you should not do this, you should not do that. We were talking about peer pressure. We were talking about that feeling of missing out on something. So that brings to the full circle that even if someone's doing it right, the child will be felt missed out. And then like we were talking about the headsets. The Vision Pro, Apple Vision Pro. If someone's having it and once you use it, once you see that, there's a feeling of having it or trying it. And this thing, this circle will never end. So is there any, I don't have a question over here, but is there any right way to do it, or how would you guys think you would do it?
I think I would do it. One thing that I really like is making sure that they learn how to do it the old hard way first, just so that they have the context and the muscle memory built in and understand what it takes to do what now can only be done with the tap of a phone. Like, I want my kids to learn film photography. They don't have to become obsessed with it and do it forever, but just so that they think about it next time they pull out their phone and snap a photo, that it's yeah, it's easy now, but this is the mechanism and this is how it works. I think there's still some credence to that we're sure, they may not, they may do it the lazy way from then on, but at least it's built into their system somehow. And starting off that way, not going one way and then going back to realize, oh wow, I never knew how hard it used to be. Learn it hard, let them think that there's no other way to do it, and then give them easier options.
Malaika?
I honestly don't think there's a right or wrong way to parent. Again, as I told before, they're just figuring out things. Either they, as you told, look it up on YouTube, or look at in parenting books, look through parenting books. Because I've seen so many young parents actually go and get parenting books, how to be better parents, and then they go through it and they're oh, so this is how you do it. And I asked this question to my mom, who has 5 siblings, right? So, and I was how did your mom, how did my grandmom do it? What is the right way? What is the wrong way? She's there is no right way or the wrong way. Because you're doing the best you can. You're doing what you think is best for your child. And it may not align with what others think. And it does not have to, because at the end of the day, you're doing what you think is right for the child. And I'm sure they will grow up hating it, but who doesn't at this point? And maybe they'll find their own way. So I think what you think is right for your child, and maybe both of y'all can find your ways as you go ahead in life.
There's a meeting point.
Yeah, for sure. Like, how we were, as Zoe said, we somehow we became more tech savvy than our parents, even though they were the people that introduced tech to us. So we met at a point and then diverged, but so you will get along with your kids.
So your example really, intrigued me about the parents taking their videos and that's toxic. That's toxic in a way because all the time they are being filmed. So
I think it creates a sense of like kids feeling like they need to perform, and that kind of decreases like real emotions. If you maybe compare it to like the Kardashians, I think the Kardashians are probably always in a sense of like they're performing. They don't really know a core sense of being and individualism, and maybe even just like being at ease with yourself.
To actually add to your point, how the Kardashian kids are always being filmed, and they're being criticized for just being kids. Like if they do the most random shit also, they'll just be like, oh my god, Northwest did this. And like they're not given that. I mean, I get given that they are celebrities, I get that, but at the same time I think it should only be till their parents, because they are at the spotlight right now, and you should give the children their more freedom to do their own thing and not have cameras in their face all the time, because they're growing up thinking, oh, I can't be my actual self because everybody's gonna know what I am actually doing. So very pretending, like putting up a facade for the camera. So
of course.
It's literally social anxiety manifest. It's the whole idea that everyone's looking at me and judging me for things that no one cares about because they have their own lives to live. But, Kardashians are the ultimate example, and it seems to be what's happening now. I think, I do not like that parents are filming their kids. I think those kids are going to grow up and see their baby Instagrams and hate it. I would. Have an album, just like whatever, But all that to say, social anxiety, I think, is going to go way up. One of my favorite YouTubers is Vic Berger, and he takes political speeches and just things, and he just re-edits them to focus in on any flub or anytime someone drops something, and adds it just makes the most awkward situations. And it's his own form of self-therapy. I've when he's talked about it, it's how he kind of gets out of his head by making these absurd situations, and they're hilarious too. I mean, it's really funny stuff. Obviously when Trump was president, he was having a field day with that. I mean, I'm laughing just thinking about it. But there's something to be said for that. The age of technology has made anxiety more tangible and more real.
Yeah. I guess shifting back to the parenting question more directly, I think we've been talking a lot about extremes, which makes sense. But I mean, something my parents have always said is that life is all about balance, and I think maybe the way I'd want to raise my children is to make sure that they have a sort of well-rounded life, that they have the opportunity to explore lots of different things, that they're playing sports, that they're learning instruments, that they have interests, because I think that is I think that's the maybe the antidote to technology. And also what you were saying, Ryan, about is it?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
fine,
sorry. Is what you were saying, Ryan, about how this next generation is going to be better about using technology as tools, and I think we're definitely going to see that. And that we have to be open-minded, and I don't ever want to be one of those people that's like, this next generation, you know, they're totally fucked back in my day, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I want to remain optimistic, and I want to also trust the next generation that there are things that they will teach us about technology and like what we can achieve with technology that we can't even comprehend right now. So I hope I learn from my kids. I hope they teach me as much as I teach them, etc. and so forth.
Wouldn't that be funny if like the next generation, like technology doesn't
Yeah.
phase them at all, and we're the ones that got all fucked up because of it?
Yeah.
You know, they're like, wow, they just could not get a grip, could they? Our parents and grandparents, you know, it's like, I mean, I hope that's the case. Yeah.
It's like I don't like cigarettes or trans fats or cocaine in Coke. It's like these things that it's like they were the guinea pigs. They didn't know it was they didn't know it was bad,
True.
so they went full throttle with it.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
True. Very true. So next, and like this is the final topic I wanted to just talk about. You know, like let's talk about 2035. Yeah, that's 10 years from now. So, do you guys think that will things come in the full circle and they'll be 20 years old? Okay, so like will there'll be a realization, okay, we should swift away. You know, there should be a detox of technology as well. That's happening now as well, like with us. But like, what will happen? I'm just curious what will happen. And an add-on question is that, you know, I was just curious that we are really fond of a lot of materialistic things. Will materialism exist then? Or will even materialism will be very virtual, you know, virtual properties, virtual this, virtual that, you know, because people are even spending like thousands of dollars in like just a virtual piece of something. That's happening, and that will evolve, that will not stop. Like we are thinking it's bullshit, but it's not. You know, so what will be materialism? Because as a kid, it was just a small toy for me, but I don't think that is the case now.
So I think that if there's anything we've learned from museums and history, it's that we are material creatures and we place meaning in objects in the real world. Sure, maybe we can, you know, abstract that onto our NFTs and whatever the fuck, but like, we will always need things that we can hold on to that don't disappear when we push a button. You know, like blankies, teddy bears, you know, something, a necklace, whatever, you know, it's like, there will always be things, you know, until someone plugs us into a virtual reality and we just no longer feel anything, we will have objects. So that's to that point. I lost my train of thought.
The 2035 one.
Oh yeah, so yeah, and I was gonna say is like, I think in a control environment where things are as they are now and they stay that way for the next decade, yeah, I think there will be more of a awareness of the toxic elements of technology and social media, or perhaps just a stark polarization where you have like a lot of people who are like, no, it's bad, we should really wean off of this, and then the people who are just grossly unhealthy about it and keep on concentrating it. I say that in a control environment because it does not take into play, you know, some major obstacles that are ahead of us and the following generations, like climate change and whatever the next frickin' international tragedy will be. I mean, seems to be happening a little more frequently now. So who knows? For all we know, there'll be a major power outage or, you know, an EMP pulse that just like kills all technology and then the problem's solved, right? So if things go, you know, as we know them for now, yeah, I think there will be it would be disarmed a bit.
Do you want to go next?
Sure. I was just thinking when you said about materialistic things, how it's already begun in the virtual world. Because like, if you see, everybody is like, if you take up games, like if you take up mobile or like video games, if you take, say, Genshin Impact. Anybody know that?
No, I don't.
Heard of it.
Heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's basically like a role play game. I don't think I'm explaining this very nicely, but it's a game where you can buy your characters and like whatever, all the things that characters need you can buy, and very expensive. So I've had people spend, say, $10,000 on just buying things for a game. So as you said, so I think it's just.
I'm just imagining to make what kind of a film I can make in $10,000. But like anyway, please continue. I'm so sorry.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I think there's always a peak point to any kind of trend. So there will definitely be a rise in materialism.
Materialism.
Materialism. I was right the first time. Oh my god. Okay. Anyways, so I think there'll be a rise in the materialism, and then you will again see a sharp downfall, because that's how usual trends are. So, and I think the generation Alpha will have the downfall of materialism, because right now it's getting almost to the peak. So I think we can give them a decade for the downfall. I think so, but again, this is just my
That was a nice
point of view.
Yeah. They're saying it will go like this and it has to fall.
Every trend or like everything has that curve. If you take CDs, they were huge in our parents' generation.
Right.
In our generation, they were there. Everybody knew what a CD was. But after our generation, people are like, CDs? That's still a thing?
Yeah.
Because when we got laptops, there was a CD hard, like a disc attached to it. Nowadays, laptops don't have that. They have a USB portal or like a C-type portal.
Yeah.
So, technology, as it goes, something has to downfall.
I just want to say that CDs are actually going to come back soon. They just created now like petabyte drives that are installed on like a new 3D CD type of thing.
Well,
So it's kind of like, I guess it comes back. It's very much reinvented, but I think people will be seeing those like donut shapes and being like,
Wow.
yeah.
That's new. I didn't know about it.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna be big.
want CDs to come back because I have shit ton of CDs. I want them back.
It's fun. It's like collecting LPs, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a thing.
I think materialism will form in a more digital way in Gen Alpha, and the way that you're talking about that game. I mean, related to like the Fortnite skins where people are buying their characters' costumes and whatnot, or you look at any kind of gaming that maybe all of us did when we were younger, is like you customize your character. That was kind of like one of the most fun parts of the game, is being able to customize your character. And I think Gen Alpha will have a sub-reality where everyone can be a part of, and that's where the materialism is going to manifest in how you look in the digital world.
Wow.
That's what I think.
So are you thinking about like materialism or materiality, if that makes sense? Like, are you thinking about physical objects, like things that exist?
Like how? So I just meant by like at our parents' time, it was just investing everything into real estate.
Yeah.
And you need to earn that much to have your own place.
Yeah.
Now that's not a thing anymore. They don't want any houses. They want to stay on rent their entire lives, but they want to invest into something else. That's something else that is virtual, that is trending, that is so cool. So I meant that way.
So like things that exist for
Real.
Yeah, things that aren't ephemeral.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like the digital is so ephemeral. Yeah, 2035. I mean, I think we're facing a sort of crisis, an archival crisis, that by 2035 we're going to see the consequences of more so, because by that point we will have been storing things digitally for a while, and like only storing things digitally means that they're not going to exist in a decade. Like, as technology changes, old formats become incompatible, we lose the ability to sort of read documents in the formats that they're currently saved in. So, I mean, that'll be interesting to me. Like, I think if you really want something to be preserved, you have to have a physical copy of it. Yeah, and I also think, like, we've seen and will continue to see a sort of nostalgic desire for like material media, like physical media, obviously records and CDs, and like, I don't know, it'd be funny if VHS tapes came back or something, but yeah.
They are.
They are.
Actually, DPs, when they, because obviously the struggle is there's no safe way to record millions of dollars worth of footage, they are now recording it on high quality magnetic tape.
Really?
Yeah, it's like apparently the most secure way these days to keep it, obviously in a very contained, non-magnetic environment. But like,
Yeah.
there is this kind of loop where the old ways come back because they suddenly apply to this like insane amount of data that we have.
Yeah.
They're even figuring out now ways to store data on our DNA.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's some wild shit. But like
That's
it could
wild.
happen.
That's wild.
Why not? I mean, stored millions of years of information so far. But yeah. I mean, more to the modern age though. It's like tape is coming back. I mean, CD format, tape format, it all comes back because we are presented with these new problems, and it's interesting. It's just interesting to me. There's this pattern that the old ways seem to come into play.
It's like you bought the new ways to fix the old ways, but now you're getting back the old ways to fix the new ways.
It
Yeah.
feels like back to square one type situation,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes. But yeah, that's
But
what
more
happens.
square one, like
It's not just square one.
elevated square one.
Elevated square one. Yeah.
Because definitely it's not the same as before. They've made it more tech savvy.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, because there was a time that pointlessly people were trying to go slimmer and thinner on the phones.
Mhm.
But like after a point, they realized that there's no point. They are just reducing a few grams. Like, okay, they said that iPhone is now lighter by 5 grams or like 10 grams. It doesn't make a difference. Get us a button.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair point.
Right, so like functionality is here, so
Yeah.
that many people and many companies don't understand, but they are just competing with other brands and innovation where it's not needed, so that's a balance I think they eventually find when they realize that okay, people are not loving it a bit and this is not happening, so okay, let's do that.
You were saying they're bringing back buttons in cars, right? Yeah, I think like people miss tactility, and like
Yeah.
maybe that's going to be a thing. Things are going to be designed to feel interesting to the touch because everything is a touchsreen now. We're bored.
They tried to do it by haptic touch, but like
It didn't click.
Of course not.
It doesn't work out that way, right? In you're talking about cars. This is off topic. I'll cut it out. But like,
Okay.
but like in cars we had those switches in vintage cars.
Yeah,
Like the toggle switches.
I love them.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
You get a dopamine response. It's like because again, we depend on sight, sound,
Yeah.
and touch to get through life. It's like why deprive us of that? It's a deprivation. It really is. So yeah.
But yeah, we are at the end of it. Thank you so
I have
much.
a question.
You want to record it? Yeah.
Yeah, I
go
mean,
for it.
just like a question,
Yeah,
discussion
go for it.
question.
I didn't have any, so like.
Yeah. What do you guys think about these self-test prediction, self-test mechanism that is going on in the social media right now? Like, test yourself, see if you're depressed, test yourself if you have anxiety or ADHD or if you have bipolar disorder. Like, what do you guys think about it?
I find it incredibly ironic. It's just like, yeah.
That's just challenging your confirmation bias. And it's.
I feel like people's relationships to like, or the way they suddenly mental illness is like a label, like a fun like badge they can wear, or like collecting Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
It's just like, are you insane? Like, you don't want that. It's like, everyone has this obsession. There's like, oh, well, you know, I think I'm like ADHD or like I'm bipolar here. And it's like, you have no diagnosis for that though. And why would you want to brand yourself with that? It's such
The
a...
trending one is OCD. I have OCD.
Yeah, everyone says they have OCD and now I have to be like,
Oh my
really?
God.
You know?
Are you sure?
I don't question it, obviously, it's because maybe they do, you know? But there are a lot of people who just think it's cool to say, you know, I see like on like my students' frickin' profiles on Instagram, they're like, you know, self-diagnosed with blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that is not cool. That
why.
sucks.
But that trend is just meant to be sent to someone else, so that you can send it to someone else, and then you can say that this is you, this is you, this is you, this is you, so that the
It's this really like corrupted, like warped
algorithm, yeah.
categorization, where it's like, let's have a community of fake disease. It's
You
like,
know all the
what?
words that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Like that's the perfect way of describing it. It is meant to do that. It's meant for more shareability on their platform.
Oh no, I'm not saying like social media platforms. Like, you know, there are actual websites that you go to like check and like you answer questions and they're like, oh, you're 98% depressed, seek help.
So again, everything is not bullshit.
Is this like a self-help website, like a government-funded health website?
No, it's not a government
So
funded
it's bullshit. Yeah, yeah.
That's what I was thinking. So if you go to a doctor, go to someone that has who's paid money to get the education, and
Right.
then let them diagnose you, and then you will know what you have and what you don't. I don't feel like
The-
algorithm could decide how much percent depression you're not currently have.
I would say that is not always available to people because of like insurance plans, and you know,
Mhm.
even if you have access to the resources you need, they're not very good sometimes. All it's to say that these websites are preying on those people, without a doubt.
Yeah, they're just trying to sell people things. It's just like a marketing.
It's awful.
That's
No, don't. You have to do it.
What?
Something, I don't know what you all were talking about.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe.
You can also
Hit
just
that bell
Hit
icon.
that bell icon.
I'm going to put exactly this.
None of it is recording, right?
It is.
It is recording.
I'm just giving you meme content.
I guess I'll put it on YouTube. Yes.
Famous people.
Launching my
How do
career.
you know who? I have 450 followers and I'm following 1,200.
Wow.
Just 450.
On YouTube?
You are a CEO.
No,
Shit.
no.
Instagram.
Instagram.
There you
I was
go.
like-
I have 7 subscribers on YouTube.
Yay!
Yay!
Nice. As for a closing remark, it should probably just come from you. Fade to black. Up the music.
And then
roll the
I'm
credits.
not singing in the back.
Opera, yeah. Ends with opera.
That wasn't an opera. That was Frank Sinatra.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars.